So one of the things I wanted to show you was some of the different types of containers you can use. This is a basket that I picked up at Hobby Lobby, and this makes a great container. I've used it for years out on my porch. You just want to make sure you put some kind of liner in it. A cocoa liner works great. You can use this. You can use moss by wetting it and compacting it around the edges of your basket. Just make sure it's really thick. If you use moss, I would recommend lining it also with plastic, because the moss will dry out really, really, really quick. But this is a great way to use a basket. You can use old containers you find at the thrift store or garage sales. This would make a great succulent container. If you want to use it for something else, you would need to drill holes in the bottom of it so it drains out. Of course, you can use your glass pots, but whatever you use, if you use something that has a hole in it, you want to make sure you've got something underneath it, especially if you're using it in your house or on your patio, so when you water, the water doesn't just go everywhere. So make sure you've got some kind of tray underneath it. Okay, so what I'm going to show you here also is we have this pot that we're going to pot up a container, and I wanted to make sure that you saw that. I don't know if you can see this, that it does have holes in the bottom. We've got several holes in the bottom of it, and this is plant feet, or pot feet, not plant feet, pot feet. And this is going to elevate our pot whenever we have it planted, so it's not going to sit directly onto the ground. This way, it's going to drain properly whenever we water our plant. This is a key element in planting in a large pot or even a small pot, is you want to make sure that when you water, the water can drain out of the container so it doesn't sit in there and the roots just keep absorbing more and more water, because that will kill the plant eventually. So we have this. We're going to put our soil into it. Sorry.
The Tarrant County Master Gardener Association has partnered with the Tarrant Regional Water District to encourage water conservation. TRWD maintains 4 area lakes and pipelines needed to provide surface water to local water treatment plants so they can clean that water to meet drinking standards for our communities. They also work with many cities in Tarrant County, such as Fort Worth, Arlington, Mansfield, and many others, to provide water conservation programs to the community. Conservation is an important water supply strategy to help meet the needs of our growing population. There are currently 2.3 million people living in Tarrant County, and this is expected to double over the next 50 years. At SaveTarrantWater.com, you can sign up for free weekly watering advice custom to your location. If you're a resident of Tarrant County, you can sign up for a free sprinkler's checkup, where a licensed irrigator comes to your home, provides a comprehensive evaluation of your system with recommendations to reduce water waste. There's also an event calendar where you can find information about future classes and workshops. So be sure and check out SaveTarrantWater.com to sign up for their free services.
Working in a container, you want to make sure that you have a good soil inside your container. And this is a soil that I pick up at Lowe's. It's actually compost. You can see the name of it. It's Hippie Grow. It's 100% organic compost. I don't typically buy the potting soils that have the fertilizer already in them, just because I like to add my own fertilizer and know what I'm giving my plants and know how much they're getting. So we're going to start with adding some Osmocote to the soil, just to give the plants a good start to grow. And you want to add, I would say, maybe 2 teaspoons or tablespoons of Osmocote, and you just mix that into your soil. And this is a slow release fertilizer, so it will feed your plants each time that you water. but it won't get just a large amount of fertilizer each time. So it's a slow release. It's really good for your plants. And then planting in a container, you can have as much fun as you want with a container garden. So what I like to do, and what a lot of people like to do, is have something which we call a thriller, which is a tall, eye-catching plant. It's kind of the star of your container. So we're going to put that right in the center, and that's probably where your eye is going to go originally. And then we're going to fill in with what we call our fillers. And these are vinca, which will go maybe 8 to 10 inches, but then they'll also kind of wind in around. This is an African iris, and it'll stay tall and wispy like this. And then we're also going, at the end, we're going to put in a thriller, which is going to come over the edge and just hang out, kind of cascade down the sides of the container. So I'm going to make a hole here for this iris. See how deep I need to plant that. And when I pull this out, you can see that the roots are pretty tight. So I'm going to just try to loosen them up a little bit so they're not all in just one big ball. And you can see, well, I don't know if you can see, but inside the soil that the iris was growing in, it has a slow release fertilizer that had been added to it as well. But I'm sure by now that the fertilizer, they usually last up to about 4 months. So that's why we're giving them some more fertilizer when we repot them. So we're going to put this in here in the center. And then I also use, it's called a has to grow plant. It's a liquid fertilizer that I mix up. It's a concentrate. I mix it with water. And I like to water my plant as I'm putting it in. And this is going to stimulate those roots to move out and go into that soil. So we're going to get that in there. And then we're going to plant these vincas all around the edge of this, or around the center of this. Take these out. Now this African iris is a perennial plant. So it will stay in this pot for as long as I would like to keep it in the pot. The vinca and the blue liriope, or not liriope, but blue days, I'm sorry, those are both annuals. So they will die off at the end of the season, the end of the summer season. So then I can change out my plants in here. So this winter, if I want to put pansies in around this iris, then I can do that. That's the fun thing about container gardening. You can change up things. You can make it a seasonal garden. Okay. Alright, I'm going to get these going in here. And again, these roots are a little tight in here, so I just like to fan them out a little bit and then put them down in here. I'm not going to cover them up yet because I'm going to go back with my liquid fertilizer and give them a drink before I cover them. you want to make sure you get the fullness by adding enough plants in your pot whenever you plant. Then I'm going to give each one of them a little drink of our liquid fertilized water. Right. I'm going to make sure they're in there good with their soil. And then finally, we're going to add our thriller, which is going to hang right over the edge. This, as it grows, will cascade down over the front of the pot. I'm going to move those roots out. And I will add more soil in here for those. Right here like that. Give them a little drink. And then I have more compost to add to them. We're going to put this in around them. A fairly quick and easy way to give your garden a lot of color and different contrast. And again, you can change this out seasonally, so you can change up your garden. Then once everything is in there, I will just give it a good watering with the hose, and then that's our container garden. Okay.